Got to get it over.
Can were a German krautrock band who existed from 1968 to 1979 and had several brief reunions since. So Erman Schmidt and Holger, I think it's Zuckai, it's spelt Kazaki, had been students of Karlheinz Stockhausen, who was a contemporary classical composer of some notoriety. Schmidt went to New York in 1966 and got involved in the avant-garde classical scene there with people like Steve Reichler, Monty Young, Terry Riley. He also got to know Andy Warhol, apparently. And he moved back to Germany, and together with Holger, they wanted to do something new in contemporary classical. They wanted to do something that was European-based, but they ended up being joined by a guitarist and a drummer and a couple more people, and went off in a more rock direction. And therefore Can was born. They enlisted a guy called Malcolm Mooney, who was an American vocalist, eccentric, and he was particularly controversial and confrontational, I understand. And they released one album with him before he was advised to leave the band by a psychiatrist. They replaced him with a Japanese busker who they found on the street, who went by the name of Damo Suzuki. Apparently the day they found him, he was then performing with them in the evening. In their heyday, so Damo Suzuki was the kind of their front man for their heyday, which lasted 3 years and 3 albums. Then Damo left. However, they did manage 6 more albums over the next 6 years, and one more in 1989 during one of their brief reunions. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the 5th album by Can, and it was the first one after Damo Suzuki had left. I must have heard it before, because I have dipped into quite a lot of krautrock, but I don't specifically remember it. That's not necessarily an indictment on it, because basically I ploughed through a whole load of krautrock at one point in the past and wouldn't be able to tell you which was which in retrospect. I wouldn't call this ambient. Maybe I'm a bit picky on my how I define ambient, but so other sources have Wikipedia and I think Acclaim Music both used ambient in the description. I would say possibly space rock is the closest thing that I would describe it to, but it kind of sits outside quite a few different categories, I would say. There's longish tracks. There's only a few tracks on here, and the kind of groove tracks with stuff that goes on top. So space rock, in some ways, was kind of the precursor to things in the that came later in electronic music, like rave and trance and that sort of thing. And this, I can see the seeds, well, hear the seeds of that in here, because it's less of a kind of song with a structure, verse, chorus, different chord sequences and stuff, than getting a groove going and then doing stuff over the top. And that's, kind of that approach to music has made it all the way through lots of different styles of music now. There's bass, there's percussion, there's guitar, there's keyboards of various kinds, there's a violin at various points, and there's some sound effects in here. There's snatches of vocals, some of it's sung and some of it's spoken. It's all quite understated. At times it's quite repetitive. And the whole thing is kind of somehow has this, manages to be mellow and busy at the same time. It's quite trancy at times, and it definitely got the repetitive feel to it. It's got the continuity like space rock, and I mean the other thing that was happening around that time that had a similar approach was funk. And people have said that Can had a funk influence, so I kind of believe it. There's sound effects in here. There's some kind of things. The sound effects, sorry, the audio processing particularly has sounds like psychedelia in some ways. It's got this kind of phases and stuff going on. There's bits of it actually that sound almost classical, particularly bits with the piano and the violin. And each track has a different groove, which is nice. So you get different textures in the different tracks. So it's nice. I like variety. I like long evolving soundscapes like we've got here. I think if I've got a criticism of it, I would say that it kind of somehow lacks conviction with it. It feels like they're kind of almost slightly apologetic about it. But yeah, that in some ways that adds to the mellow vibe. So I don't know if that's a criticism or not. Therefore, so I like it quite a bit. And I'd like to know what you think. So please do talk to me through the comments box. That's it from me for now.